The night my CEO forced me to go on a blind date was supposed to be just another embarrassing chapter in my already messy life. But the moment she walked into that restaurant, my entire world stopped. I remember gripping the edge of the table so tightly my knuckles turned white. My heart slammed against my ribs like it wanted to escape, because the woman walking toward me in that deep red dress was someone I thought I had lost forever. And the worst part? She looked at me like she didn't even recognize me.
This is SK Stories, where every story reminds us that kindness, empathy, and second chances can appear in the most unexpected moments. If you enjoy stories that inspire the heart, press, like, share this video with someone special, leave your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to SK Stories for more powerful stories.
With people. My coworkers call me the ghost of the office because I arrive early, leave late, and rarely join office gatherings. It wasn't always like that. Life has a strange way of slowly pushing people into isolation without them even realizing it. My CEO, Marissa Lockwood, however, refused to accept that. She was the kind of leader people wrote about: confident, fearless, and somehow always 5 steps ahead of everyone else. She had built our company from a struggling startup into a powerhouse within a decade. But she also had a strange habit of interfering in her employees' personal lives. That afternoon, she leaned back in her chair, folded her arms, and looked at me with a smile that made me uneasy. She told me she had arranged a blind date for me. At first, I thought she was joking. But Marissa Lockwood never joked about things like that. She said I worked too hard, lived too quietly, and that if I didn't start experiencing life outside the office, I would wake up one day realizing I had missed everything that mattered. I tried every excuse imaginable. I said I had deadlines. I said blind dates were awkward. I even said I wasn't ready to date anyone. But she simply waved her hand like none of that mattered. She had already made the reservation. A small, upscale restaurant downtown. 7 o'clock. And according to her, the woman she chose was perfect for me. I remember walking out of her office feeling like I had just signed a contract I didn't understand. The entire day passed in a blur. Numbers on spreadsheets stopped making sense. My mind kept replaying the conversation. Why was my CEO so determined to set me up? And more importantly, who was this mysterious woman? By the time evening arrived, I had nearly convinced myself to cancel. But something about Marissa's confident smile haunted me. She seemed unusually certain about this date, as if she knew something I didn't. So at exactly 6:58, I pushed open the glass doors of the restaurant. Soft piano music floated through the air. Candlelight flickered across white tablecloths. The place looked elegant, almost too elegant for someone like me. A waiter led me to a small table near the center of the room, and then I waited. Every minute felt longer than the last. I kept checking the entrance, imagining different possibilities. Maybe she would be late. Maybe she wouldn't come at all. Part of me hoped she wouldn't. Because blind dates come with expectations, and expectations have a way of exposing the parts of you that still feel broken. 7 minutes passed, then 10. And just as I started to believe I had been spared from this awkward evening, the restaurant doors opened. At first, I didn't pay attention. But suddenly the entire room seemed to shift. Heads turned. Conversations paused, and then I saw her. She walked in wearing a deep red dress that moved like liquid with every step. Her long brown hair fell softly over her shoulders, and the soft restaurant lights made her look almost unreal. But it wasn't her beauty that froze me. It was her face. Because I knew that face. Even after all these years, I would have recognized it anywhere. Her name echoed in my mind like a distant memory finally breaking through silence. Ilara Whitmore. 10 years earlier, she had been the girl who changed my life. Back then, we were both young and struggling college students. I was a quiet scholarship kid juggling 2 jobs, while she was the bold, brilliant journalism student who somehow saw something in me when no one else did. She believed in me before I believed in myself. We spent late nights studying in crowded cafes, dreaming about futures that felt impossibly far away. But life isn't kind to young dreams. Her family moved overseas suddenly after graduation, and despite promises to stay in touch, Time and distance slowly erased our connection. At least, that's what I believed, until now. Seeing her again felt like the past had crashed into the present without warning. My chest tightened, my breath caught, because the girl who once knew every detail about my life was now the mysterious blind date my CEO had arranged, and she was walking straight toward my table. Every step she took made my heart beat louder. When she finally stopped in front of me, her eyes met mine. For a brief moment, something flickered in her expression. Confusion, curiosity, maybe even recognition. But then, it disappeared. She sat down gracefully across from me, and the polite smile she gave me felt painfully unfamiliar. In that moment, a cold realization crept into my chest. She didn't remember me. The waiter arrived with menus, breaking the silence between us. I could barely focus on the words printed on the page. My thoughts were spinning too fast. How could she not recognize me? 10 years wasn't that long. Or maybe it was. People change. Faces mature. Memories fade. But the hardest part wasn't that she might have forgotten me. It was the strange feeling that something deeper was happening. Because the more I looked at her, the more I sensed she was hiding something. Her smile was warm, but her eyes seemed distant. Like someone carrying memories they were not ready to reveal. The evening unfolded slowly. The restaurant lights dimmed further as night deepened outside. Plates arrived, glasses were refilled, and soft music continued drifting through the room. Yet inside me, emotions were colliding like waves during a storm. Every time she spoke, I heard echoes of the girl I once knew. The same thoughtful pauses, the same gentle confidence. But something had changed. Life had clearly taken her somewhere far from the small-town dreamer she once was. And then something unexpected happened. Halfway through the dinner, she looked at me a little longer than before. Her brows furrowed slightly. And for the first time that night, genuine surprise crossed her face. It was subtle, almost invisible. But I saw it. Recognition. Like a memory finally unlocking. The color drained slightly from her cheeks, and suddenly the air between us felt charged with unspoken history. My heart pounded harder than ever. Because if she had finally realized who I was, then everything about this night had just changed. Time seemed to slow. The sounds of the restaurant faded into the background. 10 years of memory stood silently between us. And in that fragile moment, I understood something I had not realized before. This blind date wasn't random. It wasn't coincidence. Someone had orchestrated this meeting, someone who knew our past. And there was only one person powerful enough to make something like this happen. My CEO, Marissa Lockwood. The realization hit me like lightning. She hadn't set me up with a stranger. She had reunited me with the woman who once believed in me when I had nothing. Why? What did she know that I didn't? The night continued, but now, every moment felt heavier with meaning. Words carried memories. Silences carried questions neither of us dared to ask yet. But deep down, I felt something awakening inside me. Hope. The kind of fragile hope you bury after years of believing certain chapters of your life are permanently closed. Yet here we were, two people whose paths had separated long ago, sitting across from each other again. As the night slowly moved toward its end, I realized something profound. Some encounters are accidents, but others are second chances disguised as coincidences. And maybe, just maybe, this blind date was never meant to be awkward. Maybe it was meant to heal something unfinished. Just before the story ends, I want to ask you something special. If this moment of unexpected reunion touched your heart, tell me in the comments. Do you believe fate brings people back together for a reason? And if this story made you feel something deep inside, please take a second to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps bring more emotional stories like this to life. Because sometimes, the person you thought was lost forever might just be one unexpected evening away from walking back into your life.